It is week number 11 of the high school football season, and tonight, your Chardon Hilltoppers made the 2-hour-plus trek down south to Tuscarawas County to take on the Dover Tornadoes. How you doing, everyone? Matt Jaworski, Tim O'Brien with you. It is the Ohio High School Athletic Association football playoffs tonight. It is Division III Region 9, the regional quarterfinals, as Chardon, the number 6 seed, taking on Dover, the 3 seed. And Tim, in this one, Hilltoppers have been playing well of late, but they need to keep up a certain few elements that they've been doing well as this season has closed out.
Yeah, you got to make sure that they limit those turnovers and limit the penalties as well. Those little things that can hurt you offensively. And then on the defensive side, if you play tough defense, maybe you cause a turnover or two. Those little things are so big, not only in every game, but especially in postseason.
Absolutely. Hilltoppers have been coming in. The defense has been championship caliber. The kicking game has been championship caliber, and the offense continues to improve each and every week. The running game is getting better and better. We're seeing more dominant production from the running backs, and they're going to certainly carry Chardon tonight. The big question, though, is will the Hilltoppers be able to subdue the Dover passing game?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm sure that they know what Dover's going to be bringing to the table, so we'll see if the Toppers can slow that down, and if they can, Matt, you got to like Chardon's chances, especially with their different deceptive looks running the football.
Absolutely. So with that, we're going to pause, take a timeout. When we come back, we will have the kickoff for you here from Crater Stadium in Dover.
Chardon Hilltopper football is brought to you by the Chardon Hilltopper Gridiron Club and by Residence Artists, by the Burr Funeral Home and Cremation Service, by the Junction Auto Family, by the Chardon Smile Center, Dr. Christopher Phillips and Dr. Brian Titus, by Precision Orthopedic Specialties, by the Achilles Running Shop, by Hazen Contracting, by Conic Law, LLC, by Mick Ray Metal Products, by ER Marine Construction, by Z Science, LLC, by Keller Williams Realty, by Dr. Williams Seeds, by Foot and Ankle Specialists of Ohio, by Remax Traditions and Union Home Mortgage, by Ash Mayfield Window Cleaning Company and Mapledale Farm, by Just for Kids Childcare and O'Connor Plumbing, by El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina and Albor's Yard and Garden Equipment, by Aquedoc and Osteo Strong, and by GTV.
And here come the Hilltoppers. Chardon entering tonight's contest 8-2. They finished a game out of the Western Reserve Conference title. That, of course, went to undefeated Mayfield. Mayfield actually tonight hosting fellow Western Reserve Conference school South. But Toppers facing a tough Dover team, checking in at 7-3. Tim, to give the folks at home a little bit of an idea here, 710 schools began this season with hopes, with dreams of playing in Week 11. That now has been whittled down to 224 teams that are playing this weekend, Friday and Saturday, here in Week 11. And of course, it obviously exponentially decreases each and every week from here on out. But the Hilltoppers, they have a chance. Everybody has a chance here come Week 11. And as always, it's the best team will win. No doubt about that. Whoever plays the best tonight going to come out on top of this one. Hilltoppers will be kicking off to begin this game. That's, of course, what they want to do. They prefer to receive the football to start the third quarter.
Well, Matt, you mentioned playing well. You got to play well in all three phases, offense, defense, and special teams. The Crimson Tornadoes, by the way, of Dover High School.
Dover in week 10 entered as the number 8 seed, and they had a come from behind overtime victory over their arch rival New Philadelphia, propelling them to the number 3 seed. See what they bring. Ziegenfuss gonna send that one into the end zone for a touchback. O'Shea Williams had no chance to return that one. If you're wondering, by the way, even with that loss, New Philadelphia remained the number 1 seed in D3 Region 9. They're hosting Chagrin Falls. So both Geauga County teams making that 2+, and actually for Kenston, it's even a little bit farther. So here we go, from the gun, Aiden Hall, their sophomore quarterback. He is a stud, checking in at 6'3", 160 pounds. Aiden Hall gonna send 3 receivers out to the right, 2 near side. They don't run the football much. Their leading rusher has just about 430 yards of rushing this season. Hall, quick throw right side. It is caught in the open near the 20, up around the 25-yard line. Cade Rudsager made the catch, and boy, he's a big kid, a senior, 6'4", 175. They've got a lot of height on this receiving, or within this receiving core. 2nd down and 5 now for Dover from their own 25. Back in the backfield for Hall. They're gonna flip it around. Coming right side, 25 making a cut, and Hilltopper's able to snuff that one out. Nice job on the tackle by Brady Toth.
O'Shea Williams there, the ball carrier, came around on that sweep. It's 3rd and short. About 2 to go here. We'll see if the Toppers defensively can have this stop and go 3 and out to begin the game.
Well, that would be huge for the Chardon defense. They have played so well throughout the season. We'll talk more about that as this game progresses. 3rd and 2 from the 28. Hall gonna split it, 2 receivers each side, a back in the backfield. That's Keaton Hall. They'll hand the ball off. Hall pounding his way toward the 30. He's short. Toppers defense comes up with the big stop. Saw Vince Ferrante getting in there.
They tried to go right up the middle, Matt. It didn't work. The Toppers right there. That's been a strong point of their defense, is right up the gut. And they're able to hold here, and a quick 3 and out should be pretty decent field position as well.
Nathan Ravine back to punt. High short kick. Gonna take a bounce across the 48-45, and Hilltoppers will be starting in pretty good field position near their own 38-yard line.
Well, generous bounce there. Big bounce on the turf. It landed just past the 50-yard line and maybe got 15 to 17 yards of roll on that. It at first looked really good, like it was only going to be about half a field, but it will be about the 37, 38-yard line. The Toppers will start.
So here comes Joey Trevisano and the offense. Trevisano took the reins over late in the season officially. Handoff. Pettyjohn coming near side 40, trying to get outside 45. Pettyjohn near midfield, and he has the first down. Boy, James Pettyjohn, the young man who was asked to bring out the pickaxe to start the game, gets the big first down.
That's what you're going to see a lot from Chardon, is those sweeps and misdirections, and the first one worked well. A first down after a gain of about 10 or 11.
Bowman, Pettyjohn, and Evan Ash are your wing backs in this one. Trevisano from under center. 1st and 10 from midfield. Pettyjohn goes in motion, and the give is to Bowman, who works his way left side, picks up a couple. guys up front tonight: TJ Finger, Nick Fay, Dylan Friend, Jarrett Hall, and Jesse DiCepeda for the Hilltoppers. It's a unit that has played better late. Brady Toth now the split end coming near side. Tight formation for the Toppers, sending a man in motion. They're going to hand it off to Pettyjohn, looking to go right side. Pettyjohn tries to break a tackle, can't get away though from Stephen Wellman. Boy, Wellman had him one-handed and able to bring him down.
Yeah, they tried that misdirection there. They keyed in on Pettyjohn and did a good job. Pettyjohn did not get the corner. So now we'll see what the Toppers dial up here. 3rd and manageable, 6 or 7.
Ball officially marked here on the 46-yard line of Dover. It's 3rd down and 7. 8:32 and counting here in the first quarter. No score in this one. Trevisano going to keep it himself, looking to go right side. Finds a little bit of running room up near the 40. That's going to be close.
They're going to move the chains, Matt. Good job there by Trevisano, keeping it himself and running the football. I think the Tornadoes thought the first guy through there had the football, but once you second guess and realize that first guy doesn't have it, it's too late. A Chardon back is usually downfield a couple of yards past you.
Well, Trevisano comes into this game averaging 5.2 yards a carry. Doesn't carry as much as Chardon QBs have passed, but he can certainly get the job done. Handoff left side, Bowman lowers the shoulder, picked up a couple yards. It's got to be tough for this Dover Tornado squad because they've never seen a wing T run like this before, if at all. And when you're a well-oiled machine like Chardon is, and you have that deception down pat, it can be just so difficult for teams that aren't used to it to pick up who has the ball.
It's difficult for us at times to pick up who has the ball, let alone the defense.
They're going to give it to Pettyjohn left side. Stopped in the backfield. Looked like Jacob Pagas made the stop for Dover. Ball back to about the 40-yard line. Going to bring up a 3rd down and 11 for the Hilltoppers. It is a brisk night, to say the least, here in Dover. The Hilltoppers are ready to roll. 3rd and 11 for Trevisano. Going to drop back the pass. He has Toth heading down the field. No, he's going to dump it out to Pettyjohn. Made the catch. 20, the 10. Pettyjohn makes a cut. Brought down inside the 5.
Big play there, and the play action works perfectly. Chardon, they're going to have to do that at times in these playoffs, is passing the football perfectly executed there. You set up the run the whole way down the field. You have a nice crossing pattern with Pettyjohn. He makes the catch, gets up the field, and now it's 1st and goal. Offense on the move for the Toppers.
Chardon will have the ball 1st and goal from the 4. Looking to knock this one in and give them the early lead, but they've got 4 yards to go. Trevisano gives it up right side. Pettyjohn toward the end zone. And there's a flag out. Penalty is going to be against Dover. I think that might have been a face mask call.
Yep, they said 5-yard face mask, which that should be, I'm guessing, half the distance.
Yeah. Really, I don't know if you can get any closer than that. Pettyjohn, boy, the young man nearly had it. Was getting ready to say touchdown number 9, but not meant to be that carry. Trevisano keeps it himself. And is somebody going to...
No signal. They're going to say it was short.
He was short. Yeah. Apparently that was a touchdown. touchdown. The officials never signaled touchdown. The Hilltoppers have got on the board a 1-yard touchdown run by Joey Trevisano, so touchdown Toppers.
No, not one official put their hands up to indicate it.
Guys, I know it's a bit brisk and you want to keep them warm, but please. Keaton Ziegenfuss puts a good kick into that one, and it is good. So 5:29 to go here in the first quarter. The Hilltoppers take the early lead 7-0, thanks to the big catch by James Pettyjohn, and then that 1-yard touchdown run by Trevisano.
Matt, couldn't have started this game any better if you're the Toppers. You get a 3-and-out on defense, which is exactly what you want. It was 3rd and 2, and you stopped them short. And then after the punt, you go down the field. You have a couple big first downs. You had a big 3rd and 7 that you converted on a QB keeper. Then that 3rd down that you mentioned with Pettyjohn coming across the formation, and a good throw by Trevisano. They got it down to the 4-yard line, and then a couple of plays to get it in. Great start for the Toppers. We'll see if they can keep it up here, up 7-0.
Now the Hilltoppers, you can't ask for really a better start, Tim, as you just said there, and it takes a lot of pressure off the defense now.
Well, yes, but defensively still, I still think you got to be a little aggressive, because if somehow you come up with a turnover here and go down and score another one, then you can really put the home team behind, and Dover might be starting to hit the panic button.
Another good kick. Going to be fielded just shy of the goal line across the 10, 15, 20, right side, 25, down across the 30-yard line, and that was Ravine who returned it. So the Hilltoppers getting back to work now defensively. You saw them with, as this season progressed, a very aggressive type of defense. John Dinko has done a good job of getting to the quarterback, so have other guys along the way as well. We'll see here what Aiden Hall is gonna bring out. Hall dropping back the pass, looking to throw right side, has his man across the 35 up near the 40, spinning around, and that time it was Ravine again who made the catch. Ravine gonna be, I believe, shy of the first down.
Second and about 1.5 yards, maybe 2 officially. Just a quick release and a quick pass there, and before you know it, Ravine was up the field.
2nd down and 2 from the 41. So Aiden Hall gonna pitch it off, coming right side, across the 45, midfield 50, lowering his shoulder, picking up a couple yards, Keaton Hall.
Keaton Hall, just 5'8", 180-pound running back, but he runs like he has a much bigger frame, put his head down, got upfield on that one.
Keaton and Aiden are actually brothers, believe it or not. Same last name. First,
usually a pretty good indicator.
Every once in a while. Hall dropping back from the shotgun. We'll throw it again right side, and tight coverage. Boy, a good job there to get to it was Keaton Ziegenfuss.
Oh, great job there. He was able to read that pass and then dove towards the far sideline. Perfectly timed it, able to swat the ball away just before it arrived. So good job there by Keaton of not leaving too early, if you will, and making that play right when he needed to.
Going to be 2nd down and 10 now for Dover from the Chardon 48. 3 receivers left, 2 to the right, empty backfield for Hall. Hall looking now into the sidelines, gets his signal. His team's ready. Hall feeling some pressure, stepping up, and he's going to be dropped for a loss in the backfield. The Hilltoppers with a big stop.
That was, I believe,
Dylan Thomas.
Dylan Thomas, and also John Dinko in on there as well. That is a huge play. Now that brings it up 3rd and very long. 21 officially to go, Matt.
Well, against North, by the way, Dylan Thomas got official credit for the 24-yard punt return. So he's had a couple big games back-to-back so far. Hall going to throw deep down the field. Some tight coverage and incomplete. Overshot everybody. Good coverage by Brady Toth on Nathan Ravine. Ravine slipped and fell, had no shot at getting that one.
Toppers right now, all the momentum. Let's see if they can keep it up here. They're going to receive this punt, and if they can go down and score again, they're going to have Dover on their heels, and then it'll really get interesting to see how the plan of attack for Dover will go from there.
Ravine ready to punt the football. Trevisano standing around his own 24. End over end kick. Will be down around the 25, and out comes the Hilltopper offense. Well, they did what they do best. They ran the football, but they lured the Tornadoes into thinking a run, and they got it out in the short field to James Pettyjohn, and Pettyjohn just turned it on. A huge pickup, and right now, the Hilltoppers set for their second offensive possession, up 7-0.
Tell you what, the Chardon faithful traveled pretty well here, Matt. We're on the visitors' side of the field, and it looks like the bleachers are pretty full.
Yeah, and there's people still walking in as well. Topper's going to run it right side. Pettyjohn, 25, 30, 35, 40. Pettyjohn, 45, midfield. He's pushing Tornadoes out of the way. Rudsager just kept trying to get in his way, and Pettyjohn was trying to run him over and nearly did.
Well, they never got James Pettyjohn on the ground. He just unfortunately stepped out of bounds, but you can tell all of the momentum, the full head of steam that Chardon has running the football right now, as the Toppers are very excited. They're going to try to keep on marching here. That was a big play to get it past midfield.
Indeed it was. Pettyjohn, the leading rusher entering this game, 742 yards. He has turned it on late once they changed up some of the schematics up front. That's Drew Fetchick. He makes a great cut, Fetchick, turning it right back near side to the 25. Fetchick the 20, near the 10, and the Hilltoppers get another first down.
Wow. The personnel changes, but the scheme stays the same. Fetchick, a great job. Once he hit about the 35-yard line, Matt, he looked to the left, then he cut back to the right, to the near side of the field, and then he was off to the races. And the safeties for the Tornadoes were the ones who drug him down. Good vision there by Drew Fetchick.
Tell you what, talked with Joey Trevisano last week after the game about this. And it's such a gracious young man, because he admitted he doesn't want to come out. They will give the ball. No, it's going to be Fetchick again, left side. Fetchick making his way up near that 6-yard line. But Trevisano said, look, I play a lot, and I realize that the coaching staff wants me to stay fresh, come on out, catch my breath. And it's something where it's going to help him the later this season progresses for Chardon, keeping that legs a little bit fresher as best you can when you're playing still 100, 110, maybe 120 plays a game.
That's been a key really to the success to the latter part of the season, and Fetchick's still in there.
2nd and 4 from the 6, so they can pick up a first down. Hilltoppers give it to Pettyjohn, coming left side. Pettyjohn going toward the pylon. Did he get it? No. Official going to mark him down just shy.
I think that was a good call. I think his momentum was falling out of bounds towards the pylon. The pylon fell over, but I don't think the ball ever crossed the pylon on the far side of the field there. So it'll be a 3rd down and goal from the 1-yard line.
Toppers trying to get it in. It's on the ground. The football is on the ground, and the Tornadoes come up with it. Wow. What looked like it was going to be 6 points for Chardon results in a turnover. Well, we talked about in pregame, Tim, limiting the turnovers. That was a bad one right there for the Hilltoppers with 1:27 to go in the third.
Well, now the defense can try to pick up their teammate here, and if they can get another 3 and out, it would almost be like that deep turnover wouldn't happen if you went down and scored again.
Now Dover took the ball right side, nothing going there. Going to be second down and 10 from the 6. Hall trying to orchestrate something here, getting his guys in position. He has Keaton behind him. Aiden from the gun. Now Keaton moved to his right. They fake to give to Keaton. Hall going to look over the middle. The ball is caught for a first down across the 25. A big first down by Rusager. And just like that, in the shadow of their end zone, now they've got some breathing room.
Well, now the Toppers just need to tighten the screws a little bit defensively. Again, still have that 7-0 lead. Let's keep that in mind. It's still, it's still a Chardon lead here. Even though that turnover was untimely, you still have the lead, and the Tornadoes still have 72 yards to go.
Absolutely. Aiden Hall looking to throw, feeling some pressure from Mendezu. Now he's going to throw down the sideline, and it is going to be caught. An impressive catch by Ravine, sliding near the 48.
Wow.
Good throw.
Good throw on the run towards his own sideline. Terrific arm strength there.
Official's going to spot the ball on the 49-yard line, means that they'll move it 2 yards the other way because the first quarter's come to an end. With that, we're going to pause. We're going to take a timeout here on GTV.
Chardon Hilltopper football is brought to you by the Chardon Hilltopper Gridiron Club and by Residence Artists, by the Burr Funeral Home and Cremation Service, by the Junction Auto Family, by the Chardon Smile Center, Dr. Christopher Phillips and Dr. Brian Titus, by Precision Orthopedic Specialties, by the Achilles Running Shop, by Hazen Contracting, by Conic Law, LLC, by Mick Ray Metal Products, by ER Marine Construction, by Z Science, LLC, by Keller Williams Realty, by Dr. William Seeds, by Foot and Ankle Specialists of Ohio, by Remax Traditions and Union Home Mortgage, by Ash Mayfield Window Cleaning Company and Mapledale Farm, by Just for Kids Childcare and O'Connor Plumbing, by El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina and Albor's Yard and Garden Equipment, by Aquedoc and Osteo Strong, and by GTV.
Welcome back to Crater Stadium in Dover. Hilltoppers 7, Tornadoes nothing as we begin the second quarter. Dover with the ball on their own 49, looking to get into Hilltopper territory. They started on their own 6 following a Chardon fumble. Going to put a couple guys. Now they're going to load the line on the left side, or excuse me, load all the receivers left side, and Dover not liking what they saw, forced to call the timeout. Tim, you got to imagine that the Tornadoes didn't like what they saw with the Hilltopper defense, and probably with good reason.
Well, yeah, I mean, but if you're a coach, you hate to burn a timeout coming out of the quarter there. You just talked about what you were going to do and you get out there and either there's something you don't like, maybe someone was out of position, and you have to burn a timeout there just before plays even ran here in the second quarter.
To give you an idea, folks, of how good this Hilltopper defense has been this year, the Toppers have held opponents to about 75 yards a game rushing. They've limited the air attack to about 153 yards a game, and that includes the big game that Drew Schiano had against Perry, the Kinston game where you have John Tumkufsik, one of the elite QBs in the area, and of course the Mayfield game with their young QB, Michael Huss. So they're on the average allowing just 229 yards per game. Aiden Hall going to get it out quickly to the left side. Ball is caught and around the 50, up near the 45, before being forced out of bounds was Williams. Shy of the first down, though.
Well, second down, about 3 or 4 here. Toppers, it seems like the Tornadoes like to do those quick screens out to the flats. We'll see if the Toppers can adjust to that in the early downs. They've done a good job so far of keeping the majority of them in front of them.
Keaton Hall going to get it, looking to go up the middle, and Hall pushed back. Mendezoon, one of the guys in there.
Well, run doesn't work. We just talked about it against Chardon, and we were able to push him back, maybe a loss of a yard. Third down and 3 now officially. Let's see if the Toppers defense can do it again and get off the field here.
Well, Needhurst and a couple of the big boys coming off the field. Hilltoppers going to bring out a couple more guys for the secondary. Trying to get full coverage up here. Trivisano racing around the left side. They're going to go right. Williams has it. Backed up, had a good block. Flagged down as Williams crosses the 40, but I believe this one is coming back.
I think it's either going to be a hold or potentially a block in the back, as that was the area there that the receiver caught it and immediately made a move towards the hash marks in the center of the field. And usually when that happens and you see a flag come out, it's on the offense, and it is against the Tornadoes.
That's a huge penalty, backing them all the way to their own 43-yard line. And they certainly had the mismatch over here on the near side. Trivisano was very late getting over into coverage. And Aiden Hall wasn't looking right. He was looking left on that pass. It's going to be 3rd down and 16 from the 43-yard line. Hall, 2 receivers left, 3 to the right. Looking left side, now he's looking right. Going to look back again over the middle. He has some time to throw. Feeling a little bit of pressure, going to step up left side. Still a ton of time to throw. Couldn't tell if he slipped or if he was brought down, but regardless, he went down near the 40.
I'm not
taken.
Yeah, I'm not sure there if there just wasn't anything and he ended up slipping or what. But hey, either way, the Toppers get off the field again. A big play there, and the penalties that we talked about in the pregame so far have hurt Dover, and now we'll see if Chardon can get back on that attack offensively.
Irvine runs up and kicks that one. Trivisano going to call for a fair catch at the 20. That's where the offense will start. Tim, Chardon had the fumble. The defense overcame that. Now it's back up to the offense to see if they can gain those points back.
Yeah, I mean, and if you go down there and you put another touchdown on, you can completely forget about that fumble. Yeah, it'd be nice if you're up 21, but you got yourself a little breathing room. That stuff happens. You're not always going to play a 100% perfect game. You have to be able to overcome adversity or overcome turnovers. And so far they've passed the first half of the test. Let's see if they can finish it off now with some points.
It is Chardon 7, Dover nothing. 10:06 to go here before halftime. Handoff coming left side, Pettyjohn, and Pettyjohn up near the 24-yard line. Boy, the Hilltopper defense has been spectacular. And we thought, okay, maybe they're going to have a little bit of trouble with this pass game that Dover has. So far, so good. The offense, which started out slow this season, has done very well tonight, gaining yards, moving the football. That was one of their lowest yards play right there, just a 2-yard gain. 2nd and 8 from the 24 Toppers. Gonna run it again this time. It is you-know-who, Mr. Joey Trevisano, who picks up the first down. Boy, when you need some yardage, give it to the QB. And Tim, the Hilltoppers just have Dover guessing right now, and the Crimson Tornadoes guessing wrong.
Yeah, it's tough though. I mean, we've been harping on it for 10 weeks during the regular season that this misdirection is the real deal. It's hard to defend, and Dover finding out about that right now.
Wave that off. Officials throw a couple whistles out.
And the Toppers move, so back up 5.
Well, those were one of the issues that Mitch Hewitt, head coach Mitch Hewitt, had talked about throughout the latter half of the season. They have to stay focused. They can't commit those kinds of penalties. Certainly a night like tonight, obviously, there's going to be a little bit of jitters, but you really got to limit those. Offense now facing a 1st down and 15 from the 29. Tight wing T formation for Chardon. And Pettyjohn going to be stopped in the backfield. He had nowhere to go as Nolan Little, one of the defensive leaders on this Dover team, able to get in there and get a stop, a loss of 4 on that play as the Toppers continue to back up.
Well, still just 2nd down, so a couple of downs to get about 20 yards, which we've seen the Toppers get that sometimes in one play. So just need a couple positive plays here. If you can move the sticks, maybe take a sigh of relief and keep the drive right on going.
Clock nearing the 8-minute mark here in the 2nd quarter. Pettyjohn in motion. He has the football. Pettyjohn looking to throw down the field, and he was looking for Keaton Ziegenfuss, but they could not connect on that throw.
Well, you pull out all the trickery, and it looks like there's a flag in the defensive backfield. We'll see what that call is. Ineligible man downfield there on the Toppers. So even if that pass was complete, Matt, it would have been called back. But I like the trickery. I like, you always add a little bit of wrinkles in really at the end of the season or into the postseason. Kind of try to take the opponent by surprise sometimes, and that was one that they showed right there. It was a good throw from Pettyjohn, just good coverage too by the Tornadoes.
Tornadoes going to decline the penalty. That brings up a 3rd down and 19. Pettyjohn going in motion. Scissor play coming left side, and the Tornadoes going to snuff that one out. They were not going to give Evan Ash any running room.
Well, I think a little safe play there with a touch of misdirection just in case, but now we'll see a punt coming up here for the Toppers. So again, still with the 7-point lead here. Defense has been playing great.
Keaton Ziegenfuss, his first punt attempt of this contest, and he is a very good punter. Getting back all the way to the 35-yard line and working his way backwards even more. Now trying to cut it up the field is Schweitzer. Schweitzer has running room near midfield and forced out of bounds. Wow, I thought the Toppers might have had him back inside the 30, but the young man picked up almost 20 yards.
Usually that doesn't work. There's the exception to the rule. I mean, you always see ball carriers sometimes who run backwards. They'll point to a couple of plays where it does work, where you're able to gain more yardage by going backwards. That was a good example. Out of bounds just over the 45 when you received that at the 30, and I think retreated almost all the way to the 20.
Dover 1st and 10 from the 46. Tornadoes come set, 2 receivers on each side. Keaton in the backfield next to Aiden. Aiden from the gun, fakes the handoff, looking to throw left side. Now feeling some pressure, gonna pitch it off and the ball is caught by Ravine, brought down from behind. And that time it was Ferrante in on the stop.
Well, Trevisano, Toth, also Ziegenfuss and Fetchik have been playing in the defensive backfield. They've done great work as letting the guys up front getting pressure because they're sticking with their men down the field. They've done good.
2nd and 9 from the 47. 2 Halls in the backfield. Aiden really dropping back the pass. Going to swing it out right side for Keaton, 50, 45. Lowers his shoulder near the first down marker. And he picked it up as they will mark the ball around the 41-yard line. First down for Dover.
Well, big screen play. I think Dover made the adjustment there. I just got done saying about how good the defensive backfield has been. So they set up that screen, and they're going to throw a short pass and get their blockers out there to try to block those guys. So in-game adjustments are key. That was a good one, or well executed, I should say, by Dover.
Tornadoes on the move here. We've passed the midway point of this second quarter, 5:50 and counting. 1st and 10 from the 41. Hall will run the football straight up the middle, and Hall picks up just a couple yards. Keaton looks like he's that kind of a bruiser, kind of a runner who just wants to initiate contact and drive the pile forward, but he gained gained a couple yards there, up to about the 37-yard line or so. So that'll bring up a 2nd down and 6. Three receivers right, 1 to the left. Hall in the backfield. Aiden dropping back, the pass being flushed out. Will throw it toward the sidelines and out of play. Will be incomplete and bring up 3rd down.
Another good job of defending down the field and letting the Chardon front, or defensive line, I should say, get some pressure. And when the quarterback gets flushed, Aiden Hall, he seems to tend to roll out and try to throw on the run. That's usually not a high percentage play. He has completed a couple of times. So tip your hat to the Chardon defense there. Let's see if they can do it again on 3rd down.
Well, for Hall, it was the smart play, dumping it out of bounds, living another day. 3rd and 6 from the 37. Well, you can hear the Chardon faithful there making some noise. Hall fakes the handoff, going to throw it over the middle. It is caught inside the 20-yard line, down near the 15. Another big catch by Rusager. Boy, Cade Rusager, the senior, 6'4", 175 with the big catch.
He's got a big frame, so I can see why they like to go to him over the middle. Good enough on the blocking there to protect their quarterback, Aiden Hall, to let him fire one down the field.
For the first time tonight, Dover entering the red zone. 1st and 10 from the 14. They're going to give it to Williams left side. Williams making a couple cuts up near the 12, maybe down to the 11. It's going to be a short pickup and bring up a 2nd and long.
Almost on a shorter field. I almost feel like that's going to favor Chardon a little bit because you don't have the deep pass game anymore. So let's see, maybe the Toppers will jump a route here. There's only so much field that you have to defend. So Toppers have been playing tight coverage. Maybe they'll be at the right place, right time down here in the red zone. 2nd
down and 7 from the 11. Hall left side toward the end zone, knocked out of bounds. So Keaton carried it left side, and I believe he got the first down. He did, going to bring up a 1st and goal situation for Dover as he made his way down to about the, we're going to say, the 1-yard line. Pitch Hall, left side in the end zone, touchdown. So Dover gets their first score of the game, and now they come within 1 pending this PAT.
Well, Dover started to run the football a little bit there when they got down into the red zone. So they've showed that they at least have the sweet plays, if you will, right or left in their playbook. Well, Pending a PAT, this game's going to be tied here.
Bit of a high snap, but the kick is underway. It is up, and it is good. So with 4:02 left to play before halftime, it is now Dover 7 and Chardon 7.
Well, plenty of time to go down the field and score before the half and then get the ball coming out of the half if you're Chardon. Always got to try to look at the positive side of things, even though you just surrendered that touchdown. Get your offense back out there. You've had success the majority of your drives here. So try to go out, do it again, and if you can have a nice drive that eats up a little bit of the clock in the process, that's a bonus, but you want to come away with points here going into the half and leave Dover with as little time as possible before the break.
Well, Tim, I think it's safe to say you're going to shut down this Dover offense, keep them off the scoreboard, a little bit unrealistic to a certain extent. But right now, to just have allowed only one touchdown at this point in the game has been very good. Keaton Ziegenfuss from the 4 up to the 15, going to be brought down shy of the 20-yard line. So Hilltoppers will have about 3:57 to get themselves some points before we head into halftime.
Well, remember the guy who just returned that kickoff, Keaton Ziegenfuss. I mean, he's got a leg where if you can get into field goal position, you might not need the touchdown before the break. If you'll take any points you can get.
Drew Fetchick in at QB. He's had a couple nice runs in this game, and Fetchick had a real big game running against South last week, picking up a couple huge runs. Going to be stopped in the backfield this time. Boy, he was met by Jacob Pagas, the 6'3", 195-pound defensive back. Boy, I don't know how you can call someone 6'3", 195 as a DB unless you're playing in college. But that young man was there to make the stop. Second and 15. And the give is to Bowman. He fumbled the football. It's picked up, though, by the Hilltoppers. They caught a big break as it was Fetchick who saw the loose ball, jumped on it. Boy, that's twice now the Hilltoppers have fumbled the football. They've been able to recover it once. Now third down and about 12 from the 17. And Tim, I hate to say this, but you look at the clock, you look at the timeout situation. Dover, 2 timeouts left. They're going to probably get the football back if Chardon doesn't get the first down with just under 2 to play. That's a lot of time for that Tornado offense. Drew Fetchick looking to run right side. Fetchick spins around, gets out of a tackle. Fetchick up near the 23-yard line. Boy, he was one man away from breaking it, but Peyton Burris there to make the stop.
Well, good misdirection and a good job by Fetchick of making something out of nothing, it looked like there. It's 4th down, and see what the Toppers do here.
Going to bring up a 4th and about 6 situation. Now they've got their 3 timeouts left. And Chardon I believe they had to reset the play clock. So they put about 25 seconds back on the play clock here. 1:38 to go in this one. Now the clock running. And now the officials.
The game clock was running, but the play clock wasn't. So the game clock was rolling and time was coming off it. And now they're still going to have to put some time back on. And I think that's what they're trying to figure out.
Now they're certainly trying to get it straightened out here. They went back to, again, 25 seconds on the play clock. And there they go back to 1:45 now on the game clock.
So put 10 seconds back on.
Yep. And now they're both running simultaneously.
Well, sometimes it's playoffs. The guys upstairs who are running the scoreboard and the clock, they feel the pressure too. It's week 11. All eyes are on you as well.
Hilltoppers will burn a timeout just before the play clock expires with 1 second to go. That's going to leave about 1:20 left in this one before halftime. And Tim, this is probably a great time to talk about the Gridiron Club.
Well, a special shout out to the Hilltopper Gridiron Club for getting the necessary underwriting to provide this special playoff coverage. It's just GTV doesn't have the budget to cover the playoffs for all sports, so the only way this game or any contest, no matter the sport, can happen is through underwriting. So special thanks go out to the Gridiron Club president, Mark Purchase, and all the team members of the club. If you have the chance, also, please thank our underwriters for supporting this special program.
Boy, the Gridiron Club, you want to talk about an organization that does so much. They have given these young men the tools to succeed. And in large part because of their support, Chardon able to consistently contend for the playoffs year in and year out. Returning to action, 1:20 to go. Keaton, a high kick. Going to take a topper bounce, going to stay in play, and Pettyjohn has it come right to him at about the 40-yard line. So with 1:08 left to go, the Tornadoes, and very good starting field position. And this is this is the kind of area where this team can be very dangerous, Tim.
Yeah, they can score quick. They like throwing the football. So we'll see. That was a high punt and almost paid off. There was a couple red uniforms that were down by that punt where if it would have hit off one of them, Chardon might have been able to jump on it, but
nobody in the backfield. Quick throw out right side is caught. 40, 45, midfield 50, and knocked out of bounds prior to the 45. That was Peyton Burris. Called his name a couple times tonight, both offensively and defensively. Burris able to get out of bounds, stop the clock with 1:02 to go. Officials spot the ball on the 45-yard line.
Chardon's going to try to keep the ball carrier inbounds as much as they can to try to run that time off the clock.
Hall going to look to throw left side toward the sidelines. It is caught as they get another first down. Ziegenfuss in on the tackle there. Rusager the first down, and the Tornadoes just moving the chains and picking up big chunks of yards right now. Hall feeling pressure, stepping up, being flushed out right side, going to throw, and will be incomplete, looking to Rusager again. We'll stop the clock with 42.6 seconds to go, bringing up second down.
When you have a team who passes this much, like the Tornadoes, even an incomplete pass stops the clock. So that's the thing where when you had 1:08 seconds to go, that's going to be a long time because of that fact. So again, got to try to keep everything in front of you and tackle the guys inbounds.
2nd and 10 from the 30. Hall with 3 receivers right, 2 to the left. The sophomore going to throw over the middle again. It is caught out near the 20, and falling forward was Ravine, and he should have a first down.
It is a first down, and again, that stops the clock. So easier said than done of trying to get this clock moving here on the defensive side.
Chains were reset, clock running, now under 30 seconds to go. Hall looking left side, has a man open, will step out of bounds. That was Rusager again. Boy, Chardon content to give them the sidelines at this stage. Out of bounds with 23.7 seconds left to go. Ball down to the 11. Going to be 2nd down and 2. Hall. 3 to the right, 2 to the left. Nobody with him in the backfield. Gonna dump it off. Is caught around the 10-5 into the end zone. Touchdown Tornadoes. Nathan Ravine with 19.1 seconds left to go gives the home team their first lead of the game.
Well, good play call. They were going to the sidelines, it seemed like all drive, especially the last couple, to get up to that point where then you just kind of sneak your running back right over the middle past the line of scrimmage. You dump it to him, and the whole middle of the field was wide open because Chardon was keen towards the sideline. So a good draw up of the play there by Dover, and they get 6 points.
PAT is good, so with 19.1 seconds left to play, the Tornadoes have jumped out to a 14-7 lead here in the opening round of the high school football playoffs.
Well, Matt, I mean, again, looking on the positive side of things, Toppers get the ball to start the second half. You have 19 seconds here. Who knows if you get a good kick return, how aggressive you can be. But that being said, Toppers can go in, make some adjustments. I'm sure they're going to have some keys to try to stop that passing attack. If you come out, execute that. But first things first, second half, let's go out and score. Tie this thing back up, and then anything can happen. I mean, it is the playoffs, like you said. I mean, you're playing a good team across the way. Sometimes you just got to tip your cap and say, hey, you know, that's the competitive nature of this thing in Week 11.
Well, still a little bit of time left in this one. You never know what could happen on this kickoff. Going to be a high, deep kick. Ziegenfuss takes it at the 5, up to the 10, the 15, and brought down shy of the 20-yard line. With that, there's about now 14.1 seconds left to go. And boy, Keaton. Boy, he looked a little slow to get up, but he's running off the field now. Boy, he took a hit. Looks to be okay, though. Joining his defensive teammates over on the bench. With 14.1 seconds left to go, Hilltoppers will likely, what are they going to do? They're going to run a play left side and getting some yardage, breaking away across the 40, 45, and being brought down from behind was Ash. Mitch Hewitt called a quick timeout with 6.2 seconds left to play. I think Dover was figuring knee, but the Toppers said, nah, we're going to run it.
Well, then they ran it with that little misdirection. I mean, and that's so tricky that even with the 14 seconds left to go there, I mean, now you have a potential chance where, remember, a first down stops the clock. If you can step back and get a quick first down, you never know. Maybe you'll stop a clock and get something in field goal range here. We'll see if they go to the air, though. Interesting part of the field, just shy of midfield. We'll see what is drawn up here.
At this stage, there's really not enough time left for you to even really think about, okay, can we get into Keaton's range? This is going to be essentially all or nothing here with 6.2 seconds left to go. And you have to imagine that whatever Dover's going to come out with from a defensive standpoint, they don't care if they give up 50, no, I shouldn't say 50, but well, yeah, 51 or 52 yards, but the 53rd is where they're going to have the problem.
Right.
Trevisano now from the gun. He is the most accurate arm of all the QBs here. Dropping back to pass. It's just Brady Toth. He's feeling pressure. He's going to flush out right side, and he's going to send it toward the sidelines, incomplete. And that is how this game will go into halftime. As now there's a penalty marker down. Boy, I think I know what this penalty is. It's going to be against the Hilltoppers. I thought it was a clean hit. That was Bowman, who came out and made a great block.
Well, are they going to say, was it from a blind side, or we'll see.
Officials are huddling up here, and I wonder, in part, if the discussion is, since it happened with no time on the clock, where it's going to be assessed. With that, we are going to, well, here's the penalty is against Chardon. And they are going to decline the penalty, I believe. So we head into halftime with the score, Dover 14 and Chardon nothing. Folks, we invite you to stick around because the fine sounds of the Hilltopper Marching Band are coming up next, and then once the band is done, we'll return to more action here on GTV.
Chardon Hilltopper football is brought to you by the Chardon Hilltopper Gridiron Club and by Residence Artists, by the Burr Funeral Home and Cremation Service, by the Junction Auto Family, by the Chardon Smile Center, Dr. Christopher Phillips and Dr. Brian Titus, by Precision Orthopedic Specialties, by the Achilles Running Shop, by Hazen Contracting, by Conic Law, LLC, by Mick Ray Metal Products, by ER Marine Construction, by Z Science, LLC, by Keller Williams Realty, by Dr. William Seeds, by Foot and Ankle Specialists of Ohio, by Remax Traditions and Union Home Mortgage, by Ash Mayfield Window Cleaning Company and Mapledale Farm, by Just for Kids Childcare and O'Connor Plumbing, by El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina and Albor's Yard and Garden Equipment, by Aquedoc and Osteo Strong, and by GTV.
Chardon Hilltopper Marching Band.
Oh my God!
Tonight we take you on a trip to the 60s and 70s with our Motown show. Director Mark Bear is proud to bring this show to his hometown in Dover, Ohio. Here is Ain't No Mountain High Enough. Harris, Nick Ross, and Robbie Frank. Here's My Girl. Here's a song from that era, R-E-S-P-E-C-T. When Mark's dad, Greg Bear, was the president of the Tornado Club. Here is the Rubber Band Man.
Chardon Hilltopper football is brought to you by the Chardon Hilltopper Gridiron Club and by Residence Artists, by the Burr Funeral Home and Cremation Service, by the Junction Auto Family, by the Chardon Smile Center, Dr. Christopher Phillips and Dr. Brian Titus, by Precision Orthopedic Specialties, by the Achilles Running Shop, by Hazen Contracting, by Conic Law, LLC, by Mick Ray Metal Products, by ER Marine Construction, by Z Science, LLC, by Keller Williams Realty, by Dr. William Seeds, by Foot and Ankle Specialists of Ohio, by Remax Traditions and Union Home Mortgage, by Ash Mayfield Window Cleaning Company and Mapledale Farm, by Just for Kids Childcare and O'Connor Plumbing, by El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina and Albor's Yard and Garden Equipment, by Aquedoc and Osteo Strong, and by GTV.
Well, what a great job by the Hilltopper Marching Band at halftime. I don't want to use the word stellar, that would be a little bit demeaning. I mean, they just do a tremendous job week in, week out. Boy, you want to be entertained at halftime on a football game. The Hilltopper Marching Band does that. Great job, kids. Tim, third quarter about to begin. And that ball will bounce into the end zone. Pettyjohn, they switch sides. Pettyjohn now is standing on the right, and Keaton Ziegenfuss was on the left. So the Topper offense coming out on the field facing a deficit, a 7-point deficit here to start the third quarter. Matt Jaworski, Tim O'Brien with you here on GTV. It is week number 11 of the high school football season. Winner go home situation. Now, well, I guess no matter what, Chardon is heading back to Chardon tonight, but nonetheless. Win and you advance to play in week 12. Man goes in motion. Looks like somebody went off sides. Drew Fetchick, by the way, in at QB right now to start off this third quarter. Will be an encroachment call against Dover, moving them up 5 yards. We'll bring up a 1st and 5 now for Chardon from the 25.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how each team made the adjustments, and after the adjustments, you know, what's your game plan for the second half? So, you know, you think you know what the other team's going to do, and then you want to try to come out and execute yourself.
They might have jumped again. Now they got back. And now, wave that off. Toppers may have delay of game. Or did they call a timeout? Timeout has been called. Timeout by the Hilltoppers. Boy, you hate to see that right there.
Coming right out of the half, but I think, you know, you had the success with getting them to jump. Tried it again and lost track, I think, the time on the play clock. So we'll see. Still waiting to get to this first offensive play off here for Chardon.
Well, the Hilltoppers have been very successful in the second half when it comes to outscoring their opponents. And we'll talk more about this when we get into the fourth quarter, because a lot of it goes to a certain streak that the offense, or that the defense has going right now. But Chardon outscoring their opponents 127-23 in the second half. You hope that steps up here and keeps going. Chardon gonna run the football around the left side, now spun around the left side and dropped for a loss. was Fetchick.
Fetchick on the keeper. Jacob Pegas on the tackle.
So Toppers move backwards again.
Ossified, 2nd and 10. Chardon from their own 20-yard line.
Toppers now back to that original line of scrimmage for a 2nd down and 10. Pettyjohn goes in motion, and it's going to be a running play up near the 25-yard line. That was Bowman, the ball carrier. Bowman has missed some time this season due to injury, but when he's played, he's averaging about 5.8 yards per carry, scored a team-high 11 touchdowns this season.
Well, 3rd down here and 5. It's a big 3rd down. Chardon wants to come out and keep the momentum going here in this half.
From the 25, Toppers will run the football toward the left end. It's Fetchick, makes a nice cut across the 30 on his feet, 35, spinning around and falling forward toward the 38.
Oh, good job there by Fetchick. I think that's what everyone is looking at here when he runs the football, is that elusiveness. Does a good job. He looked like it was headed towards the sideline, then cut back up the field, then spun and had some open field in front of him. He gets to that defensive backfield rather quickly. Keep an eye on that. He might break one here soon and go the distance.
Fetchick, a 5'10", 160-pound junior. Pettyjohn gets the call around the right side. Pettyjohn to midfield. Pettyjohn lowers his shoulder, and Pettyjohn forces his way down near the 41-yard line.
Well, now you have a little misdirection. You get that little bit of momentum going. That's how big that 3rd down was to pick that up. Now you have a big play. You're into the Dover territory here, and your offense is clicking. So let's see if the Toppers can keep this going and what deception they have next.
1st and 10, Chardon from the 41. And it's going to be the QB just going straight ahead, picking up about a yard on that run. Some good penetration by the Tornadoes as Nolan Little got in there and made the stop. Little, one of the team leaders in terms of tackles for the Tornadoes.
The most student athletes in the state of Ohio. Thanks to Mercy Health.
Well, Chardon, this is their first possession coming out of the locker room at halftime. They now are facing a 2nd down and 9 from the 40. They will hand the ball off left side. Pettyjohn makes a nice leap across the 35 and falling towards the 31.
You know, it's the playoffs. You want to try to get every single yard you can get. A jump there by Pettyjohn over the pile. And he gets close to the 1st down. It'll be a 3rd and 1.
So the Hilltoppers moving the football here to begin the 3rd. Need 1 yard to pick up that 1st down. Bowman is the back behind Fetchick. Pettyjohn goes in motion, and it's Bowman who got the call, put the ball on the ground, and Fetchick picked it up. Don't know if maybe they're going to rule him down, but nonetheless, that's going to be a big loss on that play. Instead of 4th and about 1 or so, it's going to be 4th and very long, back to about the, well, actually check that. They're going to say forward progress at the 34. So I beg your pardon on that. It'll be 4th and 3 from the 34. Fetchick looking to go left side. Fetchick stopped by a number of guys, including Nolan Little, and the Toppers going to turn it over on downs.
Keaton Hall, Nolan Little on the tackle. Turnover on downs.
Aiden Hall from the gun, looking to throw quickly right side. It is caught, trying to get around the 30 towards the 35, and dragged out of bounds was Burris.
Well, again, if you're the Toppers, now is the time on defense. You need to come up and with a stop here and get the ball back to your offense. They had a few plays where they were able to pick up big chunks of yards that just have stalled out once they got past midfield there.
Hall looking at the field. Will throw it. It is caught near the first down mark, and picking up the first down was Ravine. Good coverage by Keaton Ziegenfuss. And the Tornadoes move the chains.
Ravine does a good job of getting into an open spot on the field, and then an even better job there of Aiden Hall finding Ravine. And that's been a recipe on some big down and distances to pick up the first down for the Tornadoes.
Dover with a 1st and 10 from the 45. Hall brings his brother into the backfield, fakes the handoff, feeling some pressure, being flushed out of the pocket. Near side, looking, and gonna chuck it well out of bounds. Nice catch, by the way, along the sideline by Evan Ash. Brings up 2nd down and 10 now for the Hilltoppers. And Tim, we were talking about this during halftime. It's when Chardon has gotten pressure on the sophomore quarterback, a lot of times he has just been forced to either take a sack or throw the ball out of bounds or make just bad throws in general.
Yeah, we'll see if they can dial up that pressure a little bit and make that more consistent.
Quick throw across the sideline, ball tipped up in the air, it's intercepted. Toppers, 45, 50, across the 45, and Chardon. It is Joey Trevisano with the INT. Hold on now, there's another flag down near the 44.
I think it's going to be after the interception. Oh, they're picking up one flag. It's still going to be Topper football. The question's going to be, what is the penalty? So there you go, Matt. You get the turnover. That is big.
Going to be a block in the back on the return. So that will be assessed. And Mark Chardon all the way back to about their 38, but they'll gladly take that.
Yeah. You know, that's kind of what we were alluding to with sooner or later, when you throw the football as much as one team does, you're going to get into those passing lanes. Now let's see if they can capitalize on the turnover.
Hilltoppers going to try to run it around the outside left side. Nothing going there. Trevisano was down.
Well, Trevisano was under center there. It was a true I formation, which we don't see a lot from the Toppers. So they're changing up kind of where the formations in the backfield and where guys are lining up.
Sandler, the split end, lining up far side. Trevisano from the gun. Ash, Bowman, and Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn goes in motion. Trevisano going to keep it. Trevisano straight ahead. Stopped after a short gain. Going to bring up 3rd down and maybe about 5 or 6.
A couple of QB keepers. We'll see what's dialed up here on 3rd down.
Well, Chardon will do that because they want you to think QB, and then all of a sudden you give it to Pettyjohn or Bowman around the end. Maybe even Ash, and those guys have the ability to get some big yardage. Let's see what they decide to do here. High snap, brought back down to earth. Pettyjohn makes a move. He has an opening. Pettyjohn to the 40, and a touchdown saving tackle by Nolan Little.
Matt, we have seen that time and time again where it's just one guy to beat, and that guy in the defensive backfield for the Tornadoes has made that tackle. Chardon is so close to breaking a big run for a touchdown here, which is why you can't you can't go away from the game plan. So
Well, even more importantly, the Hilltoppers have controlled most of the clock here in the third quarter, keeping that Dover offense off the field. There's Ash! Nice move across the 35, down inside the 33-yard line.
So much movement in the backfield there. There was 3 guys who could have touched that ball, including, and then not including the quarterback. So you didn't really know who was going to come out of the scrum with it. Ash did, and he got up the field and picked up a nice chunk of yardage on first down.
2nd down and 3. Chardon now from the 32. Trevisano will give it to Bowman. Bowman ahead, lowering his shoulder, fighting for yardage down inside the 29.
Well, we've seen him go outside. We've seen him have some deception, and now we've seen him just run it straight at him here on this drive. And it's going to be a 3rd down, I believe, in 3.
No.
I don't know if he gained. Nope, 1st down. Okay.
You know, Tim, I'm going to tell you, I thought that they were about ready to stop the clock, bring out the chains and measure, but the official, the referee looked at it and said, nah, 1st down. So Toppers with the 1st down on that DJ Bowman run. 1st and 10 from the 29. 3:48 clock running here in the 3rd quarter. Pettyjohn goes in motion. Now going to come back to the left side. Trevisano will give it to Pettyjohn around the right side. Pettyjohn looking to cut the corner down inside the 20-yard line of the Toppers. A big run on 1st down.
Well, again, under center, and that quick exchange where you get Pettyjohn the ball and his momentum's already headed up the field. That's been when he has had a lot of good successes, when he gets the ball quickly and can get around that end before you can blink. We've seen that a few times tonight.
Now Chris Carter brings the play and will remain in the game at split end. Another tight formation for Chardon. They're going to fake the pitch, and that time they give right side, and fighting his way up toward the, boy, that was about the 25-yard line was Evan Ash. And Ash, boy, Tim, right there, you just see him keeping his feet churning, his legs moving.
Yeah, it looked like he didn't have any gain and was able to pick up 4, so pretty good.
Now you talk about the toughness, and that's what this Hilltopper program is. It's a tough group of young men who play a physical game of football. From the gun, Trevisano will put a man in motion. No, he's going to keep it himself. Trevisano running room into the end zone. Touchdown, Toppers!
Well, right there, you use Pettyjohn as the decoy coming across. He kept it and went right up the middle. Counted about a 15-yard touchdown run or so. Wow, good deception, and then a good cutback too by Trevisano, and had open field to the middle of the field for that touchdown.
And now Keaton Ziegenfuchs out to attempt the PAT. Keaton splits the uprights. That young man was interviewed by the News Herald. Well, I shouldn't say he, but Coach Mitch Hewitt was interviewed by the News Herald. It was an article about kickers and the importance of the kicking game. And Coach Hewitt said, without getting into a lot of detailed explanation, Keaton is the MVP of this team for all that he does. Defensive back, kicker, punter, plays a little bit of offense. He does a lot for this team, just like Joey Trevisano. And his leg has won them some games this year. You've seen them on GTV, you heard them on GTV, and right there, that kick ties this game up now at 14 apiece with 2:50 to go here in the 3rd quarter.
Well, that's a way to, get points off that turnover. Remember, you got that ball that was tipped, and then you kept your defense off the field for a little bit, and the offense had a few plays and went down the field. 63 yards, if I'm not mistaken, for a touchdown.
Well, how big now was that interception? Chardon, the points off turnover. Trevisano now with 2 touchdown runs in this game. Has scored both of Chardon's TDs.
Let's see if the defense can do it again. Either come up with a stop defensively or maybe another turnover and really set the offense up with a short field.
Keaton, more of a line drive kick fielded around the 2. Slipping was Williams, and Williams hit big. How do you do? That's some Hilltopper football right there. Land the lick on him. Big number 44, Marcus Chauby, the senior, 5'10", 205.
I always love those big hits because you look at the guys on the sideline and they are just as excited as the guy who made the big hit. Those are fun.
In the next generation. Talking to your kids about drugs can reduce the risk of use by up to 50%. Don't live in denial, Ohio. Talk to your kids about opioids.
Well, now out comes the Dover offense. The sophomore QB from the gun. 2 receivers to the right, 3 to the left. Down to 3 on the play clock, trying to get somebody in motion, and they just get the snap off. Hall gonna go forward. And Aiden Hall, a nice gain there on first down. Well, if that was designed play or he just didn't like what he saw.
I was going to say that's a new wrinkle if that was designed, where, you know, with the empty set, he's primarily thrown it the entire time tonight. Now we see him keep that and take it up the middle.
Looking at the replay on the scoreboard there, that might have been a designed play. He did not hesitate. Aiden Hall, same formation. Dropping back to pass, looking. Gonna throw it down the middle of the field. Looking, he has a man bobbling to making the catch. Across the 40 is Nathan Ravine. And boy, Ravine with a huge catch.
Yeah, he bobbled it a little bit, but was able to hang on a cold night. That was a good throw right over the back shoulder. Ravine caught it down the middle in a seam for a 42-yard reception.
It'll be 1st and 10 now from the 38. Dover looking to answer back the Hilltopper touchdown. They're going to pitch it. Williams coming left side. Williams stopped at the 40. Couple of Hilltoppers in there. I saw Mendezoon. McDavid also in there as well. Mendezoon, one of the team leaders, he has 11 tackles for losses. Hall has time, looking toward the end zone. It's got a man open, and it is overthrown by just a little bit. Was looking for Ravine, but Ravine couldn't quite bring it in with the one hand.
Wow, that was still an impressive throw on the money, just a little bit long. I mean, Ravine had a step on Ziegenfuss, and Keaton had some good closing speed, but just a little bit long on the throw.
Well, my thoughts exactly on the closing speed, because there was certainly some separation there. It's now 3rd and 11 from the 40. Dover. Looking, Hall has time. Now he's feeling some pressure from Dinko. Gonna throw it away into the sideline, and the Hilltoppers bring up 4th down.
Dinko has done that a couple times tonight, Matt, where when he's getting pressure on the quarterback and coming out of the pocket is Aiden Hall. Dinko doesn't go right for him. It's almost like he's leading him towards the sideline and leveling off that, almost using the sideline as an extra defender so he can't get past him, and then he makes him a few times throw the ball away because his help is on the backside.
Ravina high punt. Trevisano says, let it bounce, and it's a good decision. It goes into the end zone, and that's going to be a touchback.
So that's wise playing there on the defensive side. back and forth we go. I mean, you expect anything else in Week 11? What a pretty good football game we have here. And now Chardon, who will get it on the 20-yard line, has a chance, Matt, to go 80 yards and retake the lead.
Trevisano will remain in the game at QB. We've seen Drew Fetchick a couple times today on several possessions, but it's Trevisano right now. Brady Toth going to line up as a split end on the far side. Hilltoppers put Pettyjohn in motion. Trevisano dropping back the pass, going to throw down the middle of the field and overthrows his intended target. Was looking for Ash, who was running straight down the middle.
Oh, some impressive arm strength too there by Joey Trevisano. Tried to catch him by surprise there, did the Toppers.
Well, we've talked about it all season. Trevisano, a baseball player, and a young man who actually, when he was growing up, had a glove that allowed him to catch as a lefty or catch as a righty. Actually throws, well, Pettyjohn around the end, Pettyjohn turning it on and knocked out of bounds by Tyler Schweitzer. Schweitzer potentially saved another touchdown.
Yeah, Schweitzer just got enough of his fingertips on Pettyjohn to redirect him enough to push him out of bounds or have a foot step out of bounds. He was maybe a half a second away from breaking that all the way into the end zone.
Well, the Toppers, you got to feel that they might just rip one of these off finally. Carter split it near side. Ash, Bowman, and Pettyjohn. Trevisano from the gun. Can keep himself. Trevisano across, well, near midfield where he's brought down. Good gain by the QB on first down.
Yeah, very good gain there.
Drew Fetchick checks in at QB. And let's see now what they decide to do here. What does Frank Hall do? He's going to say, let it go, because we've finished 3/4 of play, and this game is tied at 14 apiece. With that, we want to send a special shout out again to the Hilltopper Gridiron Club for getting the necessary underwriting to provide this special playoff coverage. Folks, GTV simply does not have the budget to cover playoffs for all sports. So the only way that we can cover playoff games is, no matter the sport, to have underwriting. We want to send a very special thank you to Gridiron Club President Mark Purchase and all the members of the Gridiron Club. If you have the chance, please thank our underwriters for supporting this special program.
Well, remember, and depending on how things go for the Toppers tonight, the Gridiron Club will again be looking for underwriting in order to continue GTV coverage of Hilltopper football. So we'll see how things go here in the fourth quarter for next week. And the Gridiron Club, again, will be looking for underwriters. You can contact any Gridiron Club member if you're interested.
Chardon Hilltopper football is brought to you by the Chardon Hilltopper Gridiron Club and by Residence Artists, by the Burr Funeral Home and Cremation Service, by the Junction Auto Family, by the Chardon Smile Center, Dr. Christopher Phillips and Dr. Brian Titus, by Precision Orthopedic Specialties, by the Achilles Running Shop, by Hazen Contracting, by Conic Law, LLC, by Mick Ray Metal Products, by ER Marine Construction, by Z Science, LLC, by Keller Williams Realty, by Dr. William Seeds, by Foot and Ankle Specialists of Ohio, by Remax Traditions and Union Home Mortgage, by Ash Mayfield Window Cleaning Company and Mapledale Farm, by Just for Kids Childcare and O'Connor Plumbing, by El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina, and Albor's Yard and Garden Equipment by Aquedoc and Osteo Strong, and by GTV.
Tim, you hear both bands as they're cranking it up now. And Dover actually did something very special prior to the game. And we'll have to talk a little bit about that if we get a break here in action. But right now it's second down and 2 from midfield. Hilltoppers now working their way left to right. The give to Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn has an opening across the 40 and on his feet, Pettyjohn across the 30-yard line. The young man is making some magic happen tonight.
He is, and there I think the Tornadoes thought he was going to go out of bounds, and he planted that right foot by the sideline, cut back in, and got about 5 more yards before he was then forced out of bounds. Tell you what, he's picking up as many yards as possible tonight.
James Pettyjohn, young man who has 8 touchdowns on the season, averages about 6.1 yards per carry, and he has done a lot tonight. He gets the call again. Pettyjohn right side, inside the 20. Miller, he's toward the end zone. Did he get in? No! They marked him a half-yard shy again.
And I thought he was in there. He had the ball in his left hand running down the right sideline, and it looked like he had it over the pylon. But we'll see. They're going to mark it a half-yard short. What a run again. Another good job of seeing where the defense was, using his vision, making another elusive cut, and almost getting it in. So the Toppers will be on the doorstep. First and goal, Matt.
We saw Chardon have some trouble down here early in the game. They turned the ball over on a fumble. And this time, they go straight ahead. Touchdown, Toppers!
Trevisano again on the QB keeper. He was under center and just went right behind his center and guard and into the end zone for the touchdown.
And Chardon has reclaimed the lead. Trevisano now with the hat trick, by the way. Touchdown runs of 1 yard, 15 yards, and 1 yard. PAT is up, and it is good. So with 11:41 to play, the Hilltoppers take a 21-14 lead. They have come back from 7 down, putting up 14 unanswered points. And folks, we have now entered the 4th quarter. The quarter that opposing offenses have come to hate against this Hilltopper defense, because through 9 games this year, you have to not, the Lions game doesn't count, they only played a half, and realistically speaking, Alliance would have not scored either in that one, the way Chardon was dominating. But the Hilltoppers have not allowed a 4th quarter point this season. And they have played some very good teams. Again, the likes of Perry, Mayfield, Kenston, to name just 3. You know, I'll add South in there because South's in the playoffs as well. And now the pressure back on Dover, Tim.
Well, in Dover, you know, they've stalled a couple times themselves here in the second half. They haven't found the recipe to get them into the end zone. So we'll see. We'll see if they're going to stay with that or pass first mentality, or if they're going to try to mix in the run a little.
Hilltoppers kick it short, picked up by an up man around the 30. Nothing going there was Jacob Holstetler on the short return. And with that, out comes the mighty Hilltopper defense. Mayfield, the team that has scored the most against the Hilltoppers in the second half this season, all came in the third quarter with 14 points. They allowed 7 against Perry and a safety against Kinston. Hall gonna sling it out Ravine right side. He is stopped for a little gain. The Hilltoppers, look at that gang tackle. And Tim, it just feels that momentum in this game has shifted. The Hilltopper fans making some noise, getting loud, and you see just the silence on the Dover side.
Well, turnovers will do that. Remember in the first half, the Toppers had that fumble and it seemed like Dover took advantage and that was a turning point. Then Dover threw the interception.
Hall being chased, racing toward the sideline, gets out of bounds. Joe Dinko chased him down that time.
And with Dover's interception, now that's really turned the tide for the Toppers as they were to take that, get some points off turnovers, get a quick defensive out and score again.
Do you mean the Crimson Tornado Tide?
Oh.
Thank you, I had to get one bad joke in there. Hall on 3rd down and 9. Again, under pressure, being chased. Gonna take off again toward the sidelines, has a man, throws it incomplete. Boy, I thought for a minute there that he had seen Tyler Schweitzer. Schweitzer and McDevitt were going down the left side, and Schweitzer made a cut, appeared to be open, but I don't think the QB saw him.
Well, not only that, it's hard when you're running and not being able to look behind you to see the pressure. I mean, there was pressure coming, and you got to try to keep your eyes downfield, be aware of the sideline. There's a lot of things that happen when the QB goes out of the pocket. Chardon's been great at that here in the second half.
Trevisano calls for the fair catch, and he makes it. So Chardon will send the offense back out on the field with 10:34 to play. Tim, you think about this now. Hilltoppers, if they can do what they do best, run some clock here, gain some yardage, start to make this a game of possessions at this point, and ultimately come out with a touchdown, they're going to put Dover in a really bad spot.
Any kind of points, Matt, not just a touchdown. If you, if your drive stalls around the 15, 20-yard line, go ahead and let Keaton boot it through and get yourself a 2-possession game. Hopefully at that point, with minimal time left.
Toppers will let the QB do it himself, and Trevisano gains about 3-4 yards on that run.
Obviously a touchdown's preferred because that would make it tougher, but Chardon will take anything they can get here as far as points go.
Chardon to the line. Clock continues to run. About 10 minutes left to go in this one. Trevisano now looking at the play clock. Gonna bark out the call, sends a man in motion. No surprise, it's Pettyjohn, and Pettyjohn picks up the first down across the 40-yard line.
So many different formations. We saw him back under center there, and Pettyjohn just has been sweeping around the corner, and there's been that steady diet of that play, but then what makes it so good, you run that a couple of times and then you keep it with whichever quarterback is in, whether it's Fetchik or whether it's Trevisano. And so far, that's been a good recipe here in the later portion of this game.
Toppers up 21-14 in this one. They are moving down the field as it's Pettyjohn again. Pettyjohn, though, stopped in the backfield. One of the few times they've limited to a few yards. It's Keaton Hall who plays two ways, getting that stop there. Dover entered this game 7-3. They've had losses to it was a 1917 loss to East, who's 7-3. They fell by a 42-20 count to the Big Red of Steubenville. Steubenville 6-3. And they also lost 62-41 to St. Francis out of New York. Pettyjohn Gets back to the original line of scrimmage, might have picked up a yard or two additionally on that run. Right now, the Hilltoppers looking to make it a 4th loss of the season for Dover, but they need a first down here, Tim, on this play.
Need a first down on 3rd and 10. You've ran Pettyjohn around the edge, once to the far side, once to the near side. We'll see if that's going to be the same recipe here or if they're going to dial something else up.
Toppers with a 3rd down and 10 from the 43. Watch Brady Toth near side. Pettyjohn goes in motion. They're going to throw to Toth, and Toth could not hang on. That was in some tight coverage. Stephen Wellman broke that one up, and boy, Toth, I don't know if he even would have had the first down if he hung on to it.
Well, Wellman, I think, just my opinion, I thought he might have got there just a smidge early, but they let it go. They let the guys play there as...
Yeah, definitely too close to call on that one.
Right.
If the officials don't throw it, you know what? We're not gonna. It is what it is.
Right, and that's what it is. Unfortunately, the Toppers will have to punt here.
Keaton Ziegenfuss, a good punt. Fair catch called for, and fair catch made around the 24-yard line. Hilltoppers defense comes back out. 7:55 to go in this one. Looking to get another stop. Now the thing to remember, and we saw this at the end of the first half, this Dover team can score in a hurry.
They sure can. You know, again, Chardon's been doing a lot of good things in the second half defensively. They've been getting pressure. They've, caused Dover to, I don't want to say panic at time, but maybe get a little flustered by Aiden Hall having to roll out of the pocket. He seems to always want to roll out to his left.
Hall going to step up and take off across the 25-30. Beeline it toward the sideline and brought down by Vince Ferrante.
Well, that's a design play there, and we're going to see maybe Dover's going to wrinkle in a little bit more of that. You know, the pass hasn't worked in the past couple of offensive drives for Dover, so maybe they try to mix in a run here or there, and if they have some success, that's going to keep Chardon honest. And then that, in theory, should open the pass up again for Dover.
Now, Ferrante, 98 total tackles, the team leader entering this one. A lot of time, they'll dump it off to Keaton, and Keaton stopped for a loss. Great job by the Hilltopper defense. Quite a few white jerseys around him.
Well, the Toppers now, when they see Aiden Hall retreating, they're reading that immediately and saying that's a screen. So then they try to find the backs, and they're able to swarm to him and get him down on the ground pretty immediately there. That was a loss of 2.
So 3rd and 5. And looks like a little bit of confusion now for the Tornadoes. They bring a man off the field late. They come set with 13 seconds left. Well, trying to come set. Play clock now at 7. Down to 6. Aiden Hall flushing out to his right. He has a man. Tight coverage. It is caught. 40, 45. And across midfield for the first down, Peyton Burris.
Oh, big play there. It seemed like there was some confusion. It was tight coverage. Tip your hat. Good play. Yeah, nice job of rolling out, finding his man. Seemed to be calm, cool, and collected that time was Aiden Hall, and they made a big play.
Dover now in Chardon territory. 1st and 10 from the 47. Hall goes in motion. Keaton Hall gets the call right side. Keaton Hall, maybe a yard on that run. Too many guys to even tell you who brought him down. You see Semler. I saw Mendezunen getting up off the bottom of that pile. Gavin Slife announced as well. Pickup of 1 by Keaton Hall. Going to bring up a 2nd down at about 9. Ball spotted just shy of the 46. Aiden dropping back the pass again. Going to step up, throw down the right side. Ball's a bit short. Tipped up and knocked out of bounds by Brady Toth. Boy, it's tough when you throw toward Brady Toth. Toth, the senior, 6'4", 170. He has some height.
He does. You got to get it over him. and down the sideline as well. It's a good place to throw, but a little bit underthrown, I think, at the end there, and Toth was able to tip it away.
3rd and 10 from near midfield. Toppers. Will jump off sides. Last week they did not have any defensive penalties.
Well, now,
not the case tonight.
To me, that was almost a quick flag. I think the defender might have got back.
I didn't see anybody move.
I didn't see any move, but apparently somebody did.
That was a wide receiver that looked at the official, said, "What the heck?" 3rd and 4 from the 41. Topper showing blitz. Semler from the right side is caught on the sideline. Rusager gets the first down, and the Tornadoes move the chains. Tim, looking at the scoreboard, clock down now to 5:31 to go. Bit of a low snap. Aiden Hall, a lot of time under pressure, being chased, and chucks it out of bounds again. He has done that a lot tonight.
Well, it's the wise play. I mean, you'll take the 2nd and 10 here with 5 minutes to go, and how Chardon runs the football. I can't imagine this wouldn't be 4-down territory. So you have 4 downs to play with here. Not a bad decision to throw it out of bounds.
2nd and 10 now for Dover. From the 33, Hall. Quick dump off, and the ball's batted around. It goes down on the ground. Kind of ping-ponged off a few people, couple ricochets, and falls back down to the earth.
Well, we see a good adjustment there by Chardon again on defense, because you see the quarterback retrieving. Okay, we've established we've been able to read a screenplay. Now they're starting to get their hands up, and we're able to tip that in the passing lane. Good job by the defense of Chardon.
Toppers defense trying to keep that streak alive here. It's 3rd and 10. Hall again under pressure down the sideline. Overthrows his target. Was looking for Rusager again. The 6'4" senior had no chance of getting that one. Right now, it is 4th down.
4th down. I think it's 4th down. I think you got to go for it here. Just my opinion. With 5:17 to go, the way Chardon runs the time off, I don't think you can try to pin him deep. I think you got to try to go. Maybe do a hard count. You got 10 yards.
Tim, I absolutely agree. This is it. This could potentially be the game, depending on what happens. 3 receivers left, 2 to the right. Aiden Hall from the gun. Dropping back the pass, feeling pressure, stepping up, throwing. And it's intercepted by the Hilltoppers. Joey Trevisano. He just should have let that one fall to earth, and he just pinned his team back deep. But nonetheless, the Hilltoppers get the football back.
They get the football back, as that almost acts like a punt when you throw it down that far, and the defending team makes the interception. It's so hard not to intercept that ball, though, Matt.
And you're exactly right, though. And I'm not blaming Tripp for that. You're taught to catch that football.
Yeah, and it's hard not to do, but hey, now you have more. The more yardage you have, the more time you have to run off the clock. Look at it that way.
Well, that's exactly it. The thing, though, is you're on your own 5-yard line now. So if you're the Hilltoppers, you have to be smart and hold on to the football here. Chardon will run it toward the right side of the line, and they pick up a few yards. Was Pettyjohn with the carry. Pettyjohn picked up a couple of hard-fought yards. Gain of 4, 2nd and 6.
Dover's got all 3 timeouts, Matt. The question for me is, when are you going to start using them? I mean, Chardon's going to take the play clock as low as they can before they snap the football.
Well,
I mean, right now you're letting 25 seconds tick off here. We'll see.
Tim, I'm going to play devil's advocate. You got a lot of time left with that offense, and if you get a turnover on downs here, Trevisano going to keep it himself, looking to go around the left side. Trevisano across the 15-yard line gets the first down. You got to start thinking, if the Hilltoppers get the clock down to about 2 minutes, we may start seeing Dover call a timeout. But I mean, realistically speaking, if Chardon just continues to pick up the first downs, this game will be over.
Right. I'm under the impression, like the strategy of trying to save time when you can.
Well, for right now, for the Hilltoppers, that's Trevisano up the middle. Trevisano, some running room, gets across the 30 down to about the 31-yard line. Another first down for Chardon.
Well, you can have the time debate, but it ain't going to matter if that keeps happening if you're Dover. Good play by Trevisano, just QB keeper. He has been a big playmaker in the second half on that QB keep.
This has been the Joey Trevisano, James Pettyjohn show tonight. Pettyjohn has a number of great runs. Trevisano, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on defense. They give it to Pettyjohn. Left side, Pettyjohn gets another first down as he fumbles the football. Chardon, though, going to fall on it. It's Trevisano who picks it up, the QB. How about that? That's following the football. Great job by Trevisano.
Well, potentially bad news here is there is a player down for Chardon. I think it was Pettyjohn. The staff got over to him and were able to get him up, and now he's walking. But for a second there, the Chardon faithful held their breath.
Clock down just over 3 minutes. The give coming right side, McDevitt, 40, 35, 30, he has a blocker to the 15, the 10, he cut back, touchdown, Toppers! And Chardon has a 2-score lead in the waning minutes of this one. And now, how big does that recovered fumble by the QB look?
Yeah, big time there. That will take a lot of the power off of the Tornadoes there. They just weren't expecting that personnel, if you will. They were expecting McDevitt to run the football.
Ziegenfuss punches it through, and with 2:48 to play, the Hilltoppers are now doubling up Dover 28-14. Now 21 unanswered points for Chardon.
Oh, you talk about adjustments at halftime, Matt. Wow. You know, you go into the halftime down 14-7, and you come out and really you dominate the second half. I mean, it's been all Chardon this second half, offensively and defensively. A couple of turnovers. You know, the big interception that they were able to get on that first drive for Dover to get the ball back and then go down the field and score to tie the game, to me, was the turning point on that tip ball. Since then, it's been all Toppers.
So the Hilltoppers, it was about, what do you say, a 2-hour drive coming down?
Just about.
Gonna feel like it's a much shorter drive heading back home. But before we start celebrating, they've got some work to do because this Dover offense can score quickly, and we've seen that tonight. Good kickoff, fielded near the 5, up to the 10, 15, 20, 25. Nice return by Williams, and now it's up to the Chardon defense with 2:43 to go. Dover, by the way, their 21st playoff appearance in school history for the Hilltoppers. This is year number 17 they've been in the postseason.
Well, that seems pretty consistent to me. Uh-oh, flag on the field.
Flag on the field, and we're getting feedback from the official's microphone. Can't blame them, though. They're not used to using a mic. They only do it for the playoffs here.
I think it was on the Toppers.
Wow, they're going to mark the ball all the way from the 27 to the 42. 15-yard penalty against Chardon. Aiden Hall going to sling it right side. Ball is caught near midfield, and now a flag comes out.
Aiden Hall's pass complete to Gabe Rusager. Penalty marker on the play.
Offensive pass interference. The receiver pushed off. Well, some of the yards Dover gained on that penalty, they just gave back.
Well, we'll see what Dover tries to dial up here. They're going to be taking plenty of shots down the field here, down a couple of scores. They need points and quick.
Hall from the gun. Being flushed out, going to throw it down the right side. Ball was apparently caught. No, incomplete, they're going to say. Couldn't see the official from my viewpoint over here. No, complete, I beg your pardon. So 2nd and 25 after that.
We still don't know.
Yeah.
I think one official said catch, the other said no. Apparently it's no catch.
Yeah, the announcer here said complete, so he's thinking something different too. Hall, a lot of time, going to throw down the field left side. Well overthrows Ravine.
Well, he had Ravine. Ravine had a couple of steps there, but just overthrew him.
Looking at the other teams, the other games tonight here in Division III, Region 9. Kenston taking on New Philadelphia. That's just down the road from here. Akron St. Vincent St. Mary at Streetsboro. And Steubenville at Aurora. Going to be interesting to see how these other games play out, including the remainder of this one. 3rd and 25, Hall. Flushing out again right side, has some room to run, going to throw it, and it's broken up. Great coverage by the Hilltoppers again. That was McDevitt. It's now 4th and 25 for Dover, and their season is on the line.
Well, now Chardon can just put maybe 7 guys back at the down and distance marker and keep everything in front of you.
Well, actually, Dover's going to punt the football. On 4th and 25, with 2 minutes to go, they decide to punt the football. And Tim, the only thing I can think about is maybe they're thinking, okay, we're going to use some timeouts. They have 3 left.
Well, field
and you hope you get a turnover.
Right, field position there. If you don't pick up 4th and 25, Chardon's about at the 30-yard line. You know, maybe you try to pin him back, like you said, get a 3 and out and see what happens.
Two minutes, 6 seconds left in this one. to about the, say, 36-yard line was Pettyjohn. Short pickup there.
Well, Matt, you mentioned it before the game. There was a couple of things going on with both bands here this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. Chardon band director Mark Baer is a Dover graduate. I think they said 1991. Timeout, by the way, called on the field by Dover. But prior to tonight's game, he received a very generous ovation from the crowd when his name was announced, that especially he was a Dover alum. And then he got to conduct the band. I mean, it's something that you don't see too often when you go back to your alma mater as the opposing, and I don't know if opposing is the right word, but the other band director in a football game, and you get to come back and lead your alma. That's got to be very special for him. So congratulations, Mark.
Absolutely. That's a nice gesture as well by Dover.
Two minutes left to go in this one. And it has been a thriller so far. The Hilltoppers 28-14. 3 Joey Trevisano touchdown runs. Plus 1 by Cade McDevitt. And Trevisano there picks up another first down across the 45-yard line. It just has the feeling now that the Hilltoppers are really wearing down Dover's D-line.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Dover, they can't figure out who to stop, and that's that's not a good feeling, I'm sure, down for those guys there on the field. But
officials timeout on the field, by the way, as they're calling for Tyson Lurie to come off the field. Looked like there was something, an issue with his helmet. The official looked at his helmet, said, come here, son. I don't think so. First and 10 Chardon from the 47. Trevisano again, a little bit of running room, crossing midfield, brought down by Keaton Hall. And Chardon now down to a minute 20 left to go in this one. And Tim bearing something unforeseen. The streak will continue tonight.
Yeah, and what a game, what a job by Chardon when they were faced with adversity, down 14-7, going into half, coming out and completely controlling, I should say, the second half.
Jonas Zeiger entering the game, number 34 for the Hilltoppers. Chardon just going straight ahead, and why not here on 2nd and 4, clock running, and it looks like they may need to run one more snap. I think there's technically a time, less than 1 second differential between game and play clock. So this will be at the Hilltoppers. After this snap, will advance to play in week 12 of the Ohio High School Athletic Association playoffs. Trevisano watching that clock go down. Takes a knee, steps back, and that does it. The Hilltoppers go down to Dover, and they defeat the Tornadoes 28-14.
Wow. Toppers, way to go. A big team win, and they're on to week 12.
With that, we will pause, and we're going to go down to the field to hear Coach Hewitt address the team. Coach, take it away.
I'm going to turn it over to some coaches, but the first thing that I would say is the 1%ers came down here and left their mark. They left it forever. It lasts forever.
Yes, sir.
All I know is if I lived in Dover and someone said the name Chardon, I would go like this. Hey, 2 things I would like to point out is once again, down at half. That's been the story of our year. You guys don't have any quit in you, man. And that's like, you can win championships with that attitude. Down 14-7. Right? You flip the script. The last thing defensively, right? No points again.
Yes, sir! 11 weeks! Let's go!
Why not us?
Oh, yeah!
Hey, hold on! Jay!
Hey, fellas, next week, look at me. Next week, we're going to the locker room, we're going to be down the score, we're going to be tied to score, and we got to come out just like we did this half and play Chardon football. Great job. Hey, guys, fellas, way to run the football. Defense, tremendous job. That's a good offensive football team, and great job. Culture, John, great job. DJ, where are you? Great job. Hey, fellas, I'd say a couple weeks ago we were in the library. I think it was a Saturday morning, and we talked about this whole program is built on strain, right? It's straining for those 6 inches. Every inch on the field is strained for it. Man, I'm telling you, in the second half, from my view, it was strain. It was 11 guys, every play in the second half, straining for every inch on the field, man. And that's what it takes. Listen, don't be satisfied. Don't be okay with week 12. We got a little bit. Go win a game next Friday. Hey, to beat that team 21-zip in the second half is quite an accomplishment.
That's quite an accomplishment. Beat the team that just beat Kent State.
Yeah,
why
so
not
let's
us?
go. Let's go.
For all you stinky asses who sweated. Last thing, that Chardon bus is going to feel real nice. However many years from now, when we come back down here, the team's going to be watching the 2019 Hilltop.
Welcome back, everyone. Matt Jaworski, Tim O'Brien with you as we wrap this one up. Tim, what a talk by Coach Hewitt. Week 12 for Chardon. Boy.
Yeah, week 12, and you know what? You got to give it to them. I mean, Chardon came down here, and you know what they did? They played Chardon Hilltopper football. We talked about it in the pregame show. You needed to limit the mistakes. They did that. They didn't commit a bunch of turnovers. They had a couple of fumbles that happened there, but they were able to overcome that and get themselves a big victory. 3 touchdowns from Trevisano, and then the icing on the cake with Cade McDivitt on his long touchdown run.
Want to thank executive producer Dave Jebnikar, our cameramen tonight, Chris Graw and Brian Foster. Folks, we will see you for playoff action in Week 12. The final score tonight is Chardon 28, Dover 14. I am Matt Jaworski. For my partner Tim O'Brien, on behalf of all the rest, we'd like to wish you all the best.